acting different on people on camera, and they acting different.
And in one. All right, y'all, we're going to switch things up today. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do some UFC.
Oh, I'm super excited for some UFC. I don't know too much about ball. If y'all don't know, my name is Taj. Me and Will go way back. And I'm happy to be on the podcast.
Yeah, Taj thinks he's at a lounge right now. He's speaking real softly into the mic. Don't worry, you ain't getting no. Well, right now you're not gonna get a job for your voice. But yo, I just kind of wanted to switch things up a little bit. Me and Taj were having ideas. Taj also wants to join the team when it comes to WJS, or we'll do a really big partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of just showing him along. And in that, today is the day for some UFC content. Today is Israel Adesanya versus Alex
Pereira. There we go. We're super excited for the fight.
Anyway, so I don't know if I didn't introduce you to UFC, did I?
No. I think Will literally, like, the first fight I watched was with you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some foundation here. But me and Taj have watched so many fights throughout the years. We watched Izzy versus Kevin Gastelum. I think every time we had an opportunity to watch an Izzy fight, we watched it while we were in college.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the first fights I brought him to, actually everybody to, was Izzy versus Kevin Gastelum. It turned out to be one of Izzy's best fights ever in his career. We also saw Izzy versus Paulo Costa. Alex Pereira is also kind of new on the scene when it comes to UFC, but we did get a chance to see him versus Sean Strickland. So I just want to kind of break down today. Also, fucking Michael Chandler.
No.
Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier are also fighting tonight. So it's kind of a double decker when it comes to we got some really good content. Let's just start on the big topic here first, because I think people will care about that the most when it comes to Izzy and Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
And it's like Alex Pereira is new to the UFC. His record is 6-1. Not all UFC though.
My bad. Just 3-0 for UFC.
Yeah, 3-0 for UFC. He fought. I can't remember the first fight he had. It was basically a jobber. The second fight, I'm not necessarily sure that it was a jobber. The first fight he had ended in a knockout. The second fight that he had ended in decision, but he hit the dude like almost 200 times. And then the third fight he had was Sean Strickland, where he knocked him out cleanly too with the left with a left hook.
Yeah, and that's like a thing I'm really excited about for this fight, is because like Adesanya, Pereira, they both come from kickboxing.
Yeah.
So it's like they're both going to be up on their feet. They're like, strikes are going to be huge. That contact is going to be huge. So I'm really thinking, like, I don't know, maybe it's going to come down to like who'll be better, like in the clinch, like who'll be better on the floor.
I don't know if it's going to get that far. This is how I see this fight going. Watching Alex Pereira, I really feel like he's a little bit less calculated than Israel Adesanya. I actually saw the last two fights that Izzy and Alex Pereira had, and Izzy just is a different person from what he was when he fought Alex to what he is now.
You know how long ago that was?
I actually don't know how long ago that was, but let's keep it relative to age, right? Let's imagine. Let's do Izzy UFC his age, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, this is like the style bend. Izzy's 33.
Okay.
And Izzy came in. Izzy's been in the game for a while. We've been watching him since college. That's over 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Over 5 years ago. So he's been in and then think about the time he spent before that when he was fighting. I can't remember his name for the life of me. But.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just like with all that time that's passed, like one, he's in the UFC now, so already the competition he's facing now has been different.
Yeah,
which means that he's had to step up his stuff. Like he's had to change, evolve. So even though they fought before, and right now, like Adesanya, he's like 0-2 for fighting Pereira. It's almost like fighting a whole different dude.
Yeah, and he has to come back and he has to be better. I mean, he has to, like. If Alex Pereira thinks that he's fighting the same Izzy that he fought however long ago, maybe even it could even be 10 years ago, 8 years ago, it's not the same Izzy. Izzy was way less calculated than he is now. I shouldn't even say way less. It was just like Alex Pereira was able to catch him in a mistake twice. I feel like Alex Pereira, the way that he's talking, he feels as though he's going to come into the fight.
He's been talking hot.
Not that he's been promoting the fight.
Yeah, all right.
So like I think part of the reason why Alex Pereira is here in the UFC is because Izzy's in the UFC.
Okay.
Izzy's the champion. Alex Pereira is the only dude in this weight class to beat Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
So since that's the case, you got this. This is an easy fight to promote. The only image we have of Alex Pereira and Izzy is the fact that when Izzy and Alex Pereira last fought, Izzy was on the floor.
Okay, I'm seeing what you're putting now.
So it's like, and think about it. Izzy even said it himself. Izzy was the champion. Every time Izzy is calling Alex Pereira out, you don't see the opposite happening. You don't ever see Izzy talking about getting revenge, even though I know that's in the back of his mind.
Look, I know that you said you feel like, obviously, Adesanya, Izzy, he's a whole different fighter right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's still something to be had when, like, you're talking about these two people coming up together. Like, Pereira already has that 2-0 over him. Like, I wouldn't just put him out. I'm really like, yo, it could go either way.
I'm
Like,
not putting him out.
Mm.
I think there is something to be said. If I'm going to be honest of how I think this fight's going to go, with between Izzy and Alex Pereira, a lot of people might hate it, but Izzy's going to be very careful in this fight. I don't really think he's going to engage Pereira that much.
I feel that he's looked real careful in a lot of fight, like really waiting, trying to like figure out like, all right, how's my opponent like gonna, what's their approach? And I was thinking just like from what I've seen, just like refreshing. It seems like later on in the matches, like second, third round is when Adesanya is really like he's striking, like he's really like on the offensive.
I think Adesanya fighting people with power is nothing new to him. So he's fought Paulo Costa. He's fought Kevin Gastelum. He's even fought in the light heavyweight division. Unfortunately, he lost. But he's not afraid to fight people with power. I think the only thing, he's fought Yoel Romero.
Mm-hmm.
In all of those fights, he's very, very calculated. Except the Kevin Gastelum fight where that's his most famous fight, where he said he was willing to die on the battlefield or die in the ring or die in the octagon. And I think after that fight, he learned, yo, I got to stay pretty, one. And then two, people don't last long in this sport if they're constantly taking blows. And I think he finally said, you know what, I'm going to be more careful. If you're going into the main event tonight thinking, okay, it's going to be a bloodbath between Pereira and Izzy's going to come back for revenge, basically, I think you're coming in for the wrong kind of show. It's going to be a very calculated first round, second round, almost boring, until Adesanya figures out that he's just better than Alex Pereira in my eyes.
Okay, now I feel you. Here's a question for you though: Do you think that there is a good match for Adesanya in this weight class?
Once Izzy beats Alex Pereira tonight, if Izzy beats Alex Pereira tonight, if he doesn't make a mistake, no, he's legit cleared out the weight class. You know Khabib. Yeah. Khabib cleared out his weight class.
Yeah, and then he retired after that.
There is nobody that to this day, there's nobody that could beat Khabib Nurmagomedov. I don't even know if I said that correctly. I hope I did. But it's gonna be the same thing for Izzy. If Izzy sticks to the game plan that he has, which is to tread carefully, out kickbox other opponents, and to make sure he doesn't end up on the ground, the only places he's gonna lose is a weight class under or above him. And even then, he has to tell those people under him, come up to 185. Or if you're 205, come down to 185. He's cleared out the whole division. There's people coming up. Don't get me wrong. There's a bunch of guys coming up that'll give him a challenge. But in terms of this is his prime, he's leaps and bounds better than a lot of people that come into his octagon. It's literally his because he's the champion. Now, the person that's giving them the biggest trouble is Gastelum. Yeah. And look at the Paulo Costa fight. Look at the Yoel Romero. Actually, not Yoel Romero. Let's go to the Paulo Costa fight for as the first thing when we talk about with Izzy. Okay. Since the jump, Izzy was calculated. He didn't let the power scare him. He outmatched Costa for the first and the second round and won both of those rounds regardless of the TKO. So if he's doing that to Costa, unless Costa comes back like Aljamain Sterling and runs a completely different game plan, for me, I don't think he's gonna. I think he can hold the belt as long as he wants it.
Okay, so in that sense, it's really just like as long as Adesanya's still in his prime. Like no one's touching him.
Yeah, I mean, look at Anderson Silva, for example, right?
Yeah.
For me, part of the reason why Anderson Silva decayed so quickly as he did, a lot of people will say he's one of the, but no, in his last 2 fights, he looked terrible, in my opinion. He looked nothing like Anderson Silva, and people big it up as though he was something, he was a marvel. No. Anderson Silva was terrible versus Adesanya. He looked slower. Adesanya is definitely a beat above him. Even in his last fight in the UFC, he got knocked out. And it was almost bad. It's almost like beating up on an old man. I feel like that's the level that Adesanya has to reach.
Just that. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, multiple years outside of the UFC, multiple injuries, multiple reasons to not be fighting. And then once that happens, is you come back and it's like it's a whole nother sport. That's the only way I see Adesanya really losing in the division right now.
Yo, y'all heard this first. Y'all heard this first from Will.
This is not. This
is his time. This is Adesanya's time.
This is not nothing new.
It's his octagon.
He's beaten everybody that's come up to him.
Now he has.
So it's one of those things where it's like Adesanya can't be beaten. Adesanya has clearly made mistakes before, but he's only made one big one that got him knocked out.
What sets him apart?
I think it's just him being he's one of the few fighters that outclasses other people and realized I don't need to be the talk of the town in order to win fights. He got the championship. So he's going to keep making more money. The way to make more money is to keep the belt. It doesn't matter how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You remember Tyron Woodley?
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley is the dude that got knocked out by Jake Paul. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, that's how I got to remind people who Tyron Woodley is. But in Tyron Woodley's last 2 fights as championship, last 3 fights as the champion, he faced a bunch of people and just started standing around.
Yeah. And
part of the reason, and people called him boring. He had one of the worst fights where he faced a grappler, and in that fight, he just didn't want to grapple. So he would just stand in the octagon and wait for that grappler. Didn't really engage, didn't want to get taken to the ground because he knew if he was going to go to the ground, it was going to be it would be not over, but it'd be something he just didn't want to engage in. And it's like, I'm not saying Adesanya needs to get to that level.
Yeah.
But at some sort, he knows, all right, like if I hold the belt, if I stay calculated, if I stay within my game plan, I'm gonna get him. And then you never know, he might knock him out too.
No, that'd be exciting. I want to touch on one thing you said a little earlier.
Yeah.
Where like you were talking about specifically with Adesanya, kind of like one thing that sets him apart is he was quicker. Like he was quicker than Silva. Yeah. That's something like even if he's not the biggest dude in the ring, it's like he's still very calculated. He still has that skill. I remember one of the first fights I watched with Will back when we were in college. It was just like one thing we were talking about was, even though these are professional fighters, like they look like out of shape. Like they look like unprepared almost for the fights that they're in.
Yeah.
Kind of, at least over time, I've started to realize, like, I think UFC has really started to develop to a point where, like, they were always athletes, but now it's like, it's clear, like, these fighters, these top fighters, like, they, like, finally look like athletes.
That's a good point.
Are you seeing that too?
Yeah, I mean, when you go back into, like, days of, like, Frank Mir versus Brock Lesnar, you look at Frank Mir now and you're like, I mean, he's an athlete. He definitely works out, but is he prime athlete? He was he used to be champion. You look at like just history. Recently in my head, I feel like every champion has been a model athlete in the UFC. I'm not gonna go so far. I think even Daniel Cormier, like he's
even with his
like he would gain weight in the off season, and then right before a fight he would lose weight.
I'm not gonna hold you. Cormier was built like a bag of milk.
But like Cormier, he still made weight.
He can fight.
He made 205.
Yeah.
I mean, he made 205. So he's still an athlete. But like going into that heavyweight when he fought Stipe, I mean 265. He probably came in. I heard that Cormier was around 250, and then he cut weight to get down to 230.
Damn.
or like 240 or something along those lines.
Like the way he walked around and was like 250.
Yeah, like or like he basically did a weight cut unnecessarily for the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Not necessarily sure why, either to get the perception out that he was out of shape, but he was also dealing with a lot of injuries, and that was also like his last 2 fights. So I bet you he felt though he was better than Stipe. But I don't want to go too far off because we only got 30 minutes today, and we have about 15 minutes left. It's about the halfway mark.
Ah, here we go.
But we can definitely come back to Adesanya and Alex Pereira. But wait, actually,
what's up?
Actually, you know what? I'll save that for the end of. I'll save that for the end for the show. Yeah. But let's go into real quick. Let's go into Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, the second title card, right?
Yeah, the co-main event.
Co-main event. That's the official term.
Co-main event. This is probably gonna be the top contender fight. Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier.
Do you think this will be a? Are you more excited for this fight?
Yes.
All right.
This is gonna be a bloodbath. Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler is going to be a bloodbath. There's gonna be fists. There's gonna be elbows. There's gonna be knees. There's gonna be takedowns. There's gonna be knockdowns. There's gonna be a knockout.
It's gonna be everything.
On a serious note, though, I'm very excited for this fight, but I got Dustin coming out in this one.
Yeah, Dustin. Why Dustin?
I'm gonna be frank. Michael Chandler doesn't have a great chin. He doesn't. For all the firefights he's been into, he doesn't have a great chin. You know, Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
And you know he just faced Islam for the belt over like two weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Him and Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira fought each other. Charles Oliveira took one of the best shots I've ever seen him take from Michael Chandler. Got knocked and he put his ass down. But guess what? Oliveira came back up and then knocked Michael Chandler out. Every time I see Michael Chandler fight, what big opponents, whether it be Justin Gaethje, whether it be Charles Oliveira, he also fought Dan Hooker, but I think that was kind of like a
just whatever fight.
Yeah, this is your introductory fight into the UFC.
All right,
you don't got a great chin, and he makes small mistakes. And let me tell you something, Dustin Poirier, he's better than Gaethje. He's better than Conor. He's better than Michael Chandler. He's better than everybody else. The only people he wasn't better than was Charles Oliveira. He's not better than Islam, and he's not better than Khabib Nurmagomedov. So with all those three people I just listed, he is, to me, second. He's next in line. Because now my only thing is, how many mistakes is Dustin going to make this weekend knowing that he's better?
So just what I'm getting from you is this, like, it's going to come down to who's more focused in this fight.
Yeah. Who's more focused? Who makes a mistake? Dustin, I'll give him the edge, and I'll say that if anything, he'll probably submit Michael Chandler if given the opportunity. But Michael Chandler is strong, though.
Nah, we were watching those fights, like the highlights right before. Yo, crazy.
He
crazy.
He is like a ball of like. I'm gonna just chill. But he's like, when you talk about being an athlete, Michael Chandler is an athlete. The only thing is he doesn't have a chin. He gets knocked out easily. Knocked down easily. And I just don't know. This fight's definitely not going 5 rounds.
So saying knockout. So it's gonna be knockout.
I don't know if it's gonna be a knockout, but this fight, this fight's not going 5 rounds. No. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if this fight goes 5 rounds. For the way Dustin fought against Gaethje, for the way Dustin fought up against Conor, for the way Dustin tried to fight against Khabib, like just always putting pressure. High and Michael Chandler, I don't know what he's trying to prove. He's already looks like one of the strongest dudes in the division, but he just constantly tries to prove himself.
Okay. Do you think this is Chandler's toughest fight so far?
Well, it can't be his toughest fight because Oliveira.
Oh my bad. Yeah.
Oliveira beat him, and Oliveira became the champion, and then Oliveira also beat Dustin.
Okay.
So, and you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like technically Oliveira is his toughest fight, but is this a fight where Chandler is well prepared? Yes, because he knows Dustin's history. Oliveira was the underdog versus Michael Chandler, or at least you didn't know what was gonna come out of it, right? It's like you can objectively say Dustin's better than Michael Chandler, but that don't mean Dustin gonna win.
Yeah, that's the way I'm feeling too. It's just like, yo, it's hard for me to guess like who's gonna come out on top with this one. All I do know is it's gonna look crazy.
I'm gonna do this right now.
What we doing?
I'm gonna put a live bet on tonight's UFC game. Sorry, UFC fight. I'm putting a live bet on tonight's UFC. If you want to, this video is gonna come out today, right before the fight. If you want to follow this parlay, then I'm gonna give it to you right now.
Yo, here we go.
I don't even know. Is this legal? It is legal because a bunch of people be making bets and be posting their parlays all the time.
Yeah, it's New York now.
Hold on. All right, let's go to UFC. Wei Zhang and Carla Esperanza. I got Wei Zhang winning. That's one fight on the parlay. The second fight, Israel Adesanya or Alex Pereira. I got Izzy winning. That's 2 fights on the card. Hold on, I need more in UFC. They got Dustin Poirier or Michael Chandler. I got Michael Chandler winning.
There we go. He's cementing his bets right now.
That's a plus 160 for those of you asking.
What is it? I don't know what that means.
That means for every $100 you put, you get 160 back. I mean, it's all favorites. I don't see Wei Zhang losing. I don't see Adesanya losing. And Dustin might get knocked out. I saw him get submitted, so that means he might get knocked out. But you know, it is what it is. Wait, let's go back to the bet slip. I got $5 in free bet money.
Yo, I'm actually really hoping that this ages poorly for you.
Wow. Chill out.
Just to put that out there.
To
put that out there for all y'all. I'm hoping that this ages poorly for Will.
It's official. I'm gonna put $100. I'm gonna put $100 down on a bet slip. Izzy, Dustin, Wei Zhang, and then but not for this particular fight. I didn't even know what's happening this weekend. I was just so focused on Dustin and Izzy. So. I don't know, Taj, thank you so much for coming out for the Izzy fight, man.
Yo, of course, Will, thank you for having me on, and I hope that I'll get to make more appearances here. You might be seeing me. I don't know, maybe in a different podcast, maybe on something else. We're still working.
All right, you can't come on my podcast and already talking about. I'm gonna make you sign a non-compete. if that's what we're doing right now.
No,
this is not free. This is not free promotion. This is a part. I thought this was a partnership.
No, that's not what I mean. You might be seeing me here, or you might be seeing my own thing, but still, we're always going to be partners. We're always going to be friends with the WSJ podcast. Absolutely.
First of all, it's WJS.
We could edit that out.
And then second of all, this is WJS Sports.
See, I'm dyslexic.
I'm gonna leave you guys out of here, man. All right, thank you, Taj, so much. Let's have some fun tonight.
I'm dyslexic and Will's attacking me.
I got the bet slip down. Let me know what you guys think. Peace,
guys.